Every time I'm in a lecture hall, I'm one of those garbage people, and I have to admit this, that has all of their technology spread out on the table. I've got my designer wallet out, my Lambo keys out, just to let everybody know I'm doing college part-time, just like I did high school part-time. But aside from all the technology I have on my desk, whenever I flip open the Z Flip 3, whenever this thing flips open, I feel eyeballs zooming down on me from all the rows in the back. There can be female tits on the lecture slide and people will ignore all of that to look at me flipping my phone open. That's how much clout this thing still gets 6 months later. Let's talk about it. So yeah, today I'm going over my Z Flip 3 and I'm going to be talking about how it's been over the past 6 months, my experiences with it, some of the downsides, and some of the things that I've really come to love about this device. Now, as many of you already know, I'm getting my green S22 this Friday, and I'm going to be deciding whether I'm going to be keeping the Z Flip 3 or if I'm going to switch over to the S22. For more on that, make sure to be subscribed to this channel so that you can stay on top of all these updates, news, and all of that good stuff when it comes to these awesome new devices. Make sure to subscribe. Now, as far as the Z Flip 3 build quality, I'm going to go over this really quick because I've hammered this in my previous videos. This thing is a lot more of a tank than people will give it credit for. After 6 months, there's been no damage to the body of my device or the screen for that matter. I do have a really thin Ringke case on my device that gives a nice grippy feel. If you want to know more about that, link is in the description below. But overall, it's protecting my phone from things like my pockets, from things like the cup holders in my car. I haven't had any significant drops with this device, but you know, the most I've kind of rugged it up was probably the cup holder in my car. Every time I stop, it would kind of shake around in the cup holder, but that was the extent of abuse that I gave this device, and there's been no damage to the body from that. As far as the software is concerned, however, there was a bit of a slowdown when I first downloaded Android 12. When I first downloaded this thing, the Chrome app would randomly close on me. Since then, there have been a few updates to this device, and that has actually fixed this bug, so that's no longer happening. And that basically means that this phone is mint. It's just like new. Now, I'm not here to go over information I've already shared in my past 5 videos about this device. What I want to talk about today is why I might be switching to the S22 from the Z Flip 3 this coming Friday. The thing is, when I first purchased this phone like 6 months ago, I realized I was on my phone a lot less than usual, and much of that has to do with the flip itself and this cover screen. Whenever I would get a notification that I realized wasn't so dramatically important, I wouldn't flip the phone open. I would smash the notification, or if it was a simple message, I could easily now reply to these messages on my cover screen, put my phone right back down, and get back to doing whatever else. And usually, whatever else I'm doing is more productive than spending time browsing through like Twitter thoughts on my phone. It made my study sessions a lot more focused because my phone was out of the way. It makes business meetings go a lot more smoother because I'm not going through my phone every time the screen blinks up to show me a notification. It's really closed, discreet with its notifications, and they're super easy to manage with simple slides on this tiny screen. And so I think that's been the single greatest advantage of the Z Flip 3. It's the fact that I've kind of learned to control how much time I spend on my phone and for what. I'm on my phone doing important things like getting back to urgent things from my property managers or directors or whatever it might be, getting back to notifications, and I'm spending much less time browsing social media and doing things that don't really help me. That, and of course, the tiny size, the portability, you gotta love it. Oh my god, I'm gonna fall in love again, seriously. This thing is so gorgeous. And that's kind of why I was thinking about switching. That's one of the reasons why I love a gorgeous device. Look at that green color. This has to be one of the most gorgeous colorways I have seen, and that's the main reason that I'm thinking about switching. Is that, look at that color, fam. That is gorgeous. That looks royal. That literally screams royalty, and I'm excited for that. I'm really excited to get my hands on that new device. But in no way does that mean that over 6 months this Z Flip 3 has become old. In fact, it still looks really nice. Like I said, the design language here is very modern and minimal. It doesn't look aged at all, and it's only 6 months old. So it still looks like a very nice new revolutionary flagship device. Like I said earlier, it's still a conversation starter 6 months later. The other thing, as far as processors, yeah, it's a 6-month-old processor now, but in no way does that impact anything, at least for me. The processor isn't the highest tier, but it's still up there. It's still a very good processor. It's not the same level in these new S22 series, but it's still a very good processor in a very good device. Now, aside from that, a lot of you guys have asked me about the hinge. Has the hinge started flexing over the past 6 months? And I have to say, it hasn't. The Z Flip 3 hinge still seems to be just as rugged as it was day one. So let me see if I can pull up a picture of the hinge itself here. Yeah, so there are some cases now that are offering hinge protection. I don't have that case. My hinge has been exposed the entire time, and I've been absolutely fine with that. But as far as the hinge, when I first purchased it, like right out of the box, there is like 0.5 millimeter of flex. Like I'm talking literally 0.5 millimeter of flex, which in no way impacts your function, which in no way impacts the touch, because it's still really tight. It just flexes in this 0.5 millimeter zone, which I think is like a safety range. And that was like that since day one, since I took it out of the box. And since then, I've open and close this like 40 or 50 times a day easily. And there has been no significant change or even noticeable change in the flexibility of the hinge itself. It still feels extremely tight, just like day one. And the second thing that you guys wanted me to address was the crease on this device, the crease that we all know and that we've come to love, to be honest. I enjoy it now, honestly. But when I first made my 1 month later review of this device, a lot of you guys told me that I would start seeing cracks along the crease would discolor, and that there would be dead pixels behind the crease. And obviously, like, that's because of the previous generations, I understand that, but none of that has come to fruition here. So obviously we see a few images here of the crease actually shattering, and again, like, it's a tiny screen. The screen is I think it was like 30 microns, which is half the grain of salt. So it's a really thin glass that's being used here. It is glass, it's just extremely thin. But the fact is that my device is perfectly fine, and I've taken this to like sub-zero temperatures in Toronto. I've used this. I've literally put this thing next to a hot tub for 30 days straight when I was back in Toronto, and it's still perfectly fine. There have been a few drops. Like I said, this is rattling around when I'm driving. The cup holders, no damage to my crease whatsoever. There's no growth in the crease, there's no discoloration, and there are absolutely no dead pixels anywhere on the crease itself. So it still is a very solid device. However, I've got to address this. A lot of people in my comments themselves, so in my own comments, have said that their devices are randomly shattering just like that, right across the crease. I addressed this in my last video, so definitely go check it out. I'll link it down below, because I get into a lot more detail on exactly what could be causing these random cracks, and I go over a few examples from previous customers as well. But as for my personal device, 6 months later of daily solid use, no damage to my crease whatsoever. Just want to get that clear. But interestingly enough, like, most of these update videos keep talking about the build quality of the Z Flip 3. And look at right here, October 9th, 2021. This is from last year. I understand that when the Z Flip 3 first came out, there were a lot of concerns about the build quality because of the last generation, the first gen Z Flip 3 or the Z Flip. And that was a very, very experimental device that was cracking, that had a lot of problems. But this device has really weathered the time extremely well. We are not seeing the same problems at the same rates with this device. We are obviously, there are people that are getting cracks and shatters across the crease and things like that, but the amount of people that's happening to is very small, and those are the stories that keep making it to the top of the pages, at least back when it launched, because now we're not getting any new updates about the build quality of this phone. Time testing it has shown that it actually has been a very solid device for a huge number of people. And so those articles and those columns stopped attacking the device. I mean, we don't see recent articles going over it. And so the people that were thinking about jumping onto the Flip train have already done so. They've been convinced. The people that just wanted to leave their doubts online have done so, and they've gone on their merry ways. And so slowly but surely, 6 months later, the conversation around the Z Flip 3 has come to an end, at least for now. So where does that leave me? Well, I still have a device that still captures people's attention like nothing else. It's still beautiful, it's still running a processor, there's no delay, there's no lags, anything significant that I've noticed. It's still a very good phone. And the more I think about this fact that it's still an amazing phone, the more I kind of regret thinking about maybe switching to the S22. I don't know yet if I'm going to switch. I've purchased the S22, it arrives Friday, but you're gonna have to sit around and make sure to be subscribed so that you will know exactly whether I switch or not, and if I do switch, or even if I don't, exactly why I wouldn't switch to the new device, or maybe I do, and I'll justify it as best as possible. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look here. Never thought I'd ever be typing a tweet on the front screen of my Galaxy Z Flip 3. Okay, that's interesting. Yes, there have actually been a lot of awesome updates to the cover screen, aside from a few, private developer options as well, that literally let you run any app on the cover screen. Now, for me, that's kind of useless, because what am I going to do, watch YouTube videos on the cover screen when I have a 6.7-inch screen right on the inside? Why would I ever spend time trying to watch something on this? It doesn't make sense to me. It's a cool gimmick, I'll give it that, but I'm not going to use it practically, and I don't think a lot of people would use it practically as well. So it's just cool to have. I think a lot of people just want to make a hype thing out of that, so it's cool. Keep going. I plan to get the Note 20, S21, or a Z Flip 3 like a year from now. Those will have plenty of support, luckily. Alright, so that's interesting because, of course that's interesting. That's interesting because currently this phone still sells for $750 to $800. I bought this for $1,000. So it's over half a year, it's only depreciated $200. Now I say only, for some people that might be a pretty big depreciation, but you gotta understand what the relative values are in this market. For example, my OnePlus 9 5G, that thing I purchased for $700, and it's difficult to try to sell it for $300. So that's proper, that's proper depreciation, fam, okay? Here we go. Strawberry mochi. Oh, is that a booty? Oops. Unless it's Z Flip 3, I don't want it. Okay, she has a Galaxy Z Flip. Okay. There's still a lot of talk around this device. Oh, look at that. So this was taken by the Z Flip 3. Gorgeous picture, of course. And this is important as well, because a lot of people keep coming back to me. Let me put the photo up at least. A lot of people come back and say, hey, the camera on this isn't as good, and the S22 has better cameras. The S21 has better cameras. But I'm not going to switch to a new device just because of the cameras, and the reason is this. I'm sharing these photos on Instagram, on Twitter, on places like these, and they don't utilize the highest quality of the image. Like, Instagram is gonna downsize the image. Twitter is going to downsize the images to fit the platform. So what am I doing shooting these images and videos in 8K? I don't need that. And so that's why it doesn't make sense to me, at least for my uses, to upgrade to a device that shoots in 8K like the S22 when I'm not going to be using that feature, because none of the platforms that I post on can even accept that format. So that's again something to think about. Now, of course, professionals will need to use that because they might be shooting for like a company or things like that, but I'd imagine they have a more dedicated DSLR setup. You know, comment down below exactly what you'd be using 8K video for on your phone camera. I'm interested to know. So yeah, I mean, images on this thing are really gorgeous, and they look really good. Your hobby is who's this? I have no idea who hobby is. J-Hope. Okay, I understand J-Hope. Is it BTS? Is this, should I run, fam? Okay. Whoa! Tommy, what the hell you do? Phone cracking at hinge, and you won't fix it for... You won't fix it. Phone 4 months old. So, oh boy, that's damage right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is damage. Okay. Yeah, photos like these are going to show up. What I want to say is don't be alarmed by these. That sounds like the dumbest thing you'll hear, but seriously, don't be alarmed. It can happen. You know, this crease damage can happen. It's happened to some of the viewers here. It hasn't happened to my device. It hasn't happened to a huge majority of the devices, but it can happen when you're flipping your screen. So just like on the iPhones, when you dropped it, it cracked. With this, enough tension in some ways can end up causing the crease to crack. It is what it is. But Samsung, at least for my viewers, and I keep following up with them, has been pretty good about the warranty over the last 6 months at least, and getting these fixed. But just for you guys, if you had to pay out of pocket to fix that, it would cost around 400 to 500 USD. So it is quite an expensive fix. The cover screen though, this side, that takes about $200 to $300 to fix, or maybe $90 to fix. My numbers might be completely off. So point is, there's a pretty big difference between the two. Alright, I just want to go through a few more of these. I'm so done with Samsung Mobile US. I bought a Z Flip 3 in August, and the screen where it flips from is coming up. I send it to be repaired for free because it's under warranty. They send me an email telling something else is wrong and the warranty won't cover it. Ouch. This is BS. I have bought every single phone that Samsung has come with, and they are trying to charge me for some made up charges. Keep in my mind, my phone has been properly taken care of, never dropped or anything. They're about to lose a customer. Oh, here I come, Apple. This is really, really interesting. And I made this point in one of my last videos as well. A lot of these problems that are coming up keep being from Apple users. A lot of these problems are, hey, I'm going to go back to my iPhone, or I should have just stuck with my iPhone 12, things like that. I don't know, like we had a whole conspiracy thing going in one of my last videos of whether, you know, there's some Apple thing happening because this device right here switched the most amount of Apple users to Samsung in the history of Samsung. This device right here, the Z Flip 3. And so I don't know if this is just like an Apple army trying to get people to come back. From the users or the viewers like you guys, when I followed up with those of you that had issues with your device, Samsung was generally pretty good with replacing your device or getting it fixed. Now, from what I can tell here, when this lady or person, man, human child, baby mama, I don't know, when this person is saying that the screen is coming up, most likely that's not actually the screen or the glass, but that's the screen protector that's detaching from the screen itself. That has been a problem for a lot of the viewers as well, that, you know, come on to my channel to find maybe a solution. And the thing with that is, if your screen protector is coming off of your screen, unfortunately, in most cases, the phone ends up losing a few pixels. Like a few of my viewers that have had that happen end up losing or getting a few black or dead pixels around the crease area. So it's not a good sign to be having your screen protector detached from the glass itself. It is what it is, though. Okay, very cool. POV, you got the guy, but you want a game on it. Alright, so this is, oh, this is nice. This is like the app that I was talking about. Yeah, you can basically run absolutely any app on the cover screen of your Z Flip 3, and I made a video about this as well. You can play games, you can run YouTube, you can run any app. But it's really gimmicky, because in order to do this and in order to download that app, you need to delete Samsung Health, you need to delete Samsung Members app, you also need to deactivate any kind of lock screen to be able to do this, and a lot of people have also kind of used Bixby to do it as well. Basically, it's a gimmick. It's cool. I used it for like maybe 5-10 minutes. It was nice, but then it got old really quickly. I would never do this to my fingers or my eyes, so just not worth it. Just flip it open. You have 6.7 inches. Flip the damn thing, please. Anyways, ooh, matte blacks. Matte black has to be my favorite colorway here. It's just gorgeous. But my S22, like I said, is green, just because that was gorgeous too. Here we have some more pictures from the Z Flip 3 itself. Again, I mean, it takes really good pictures. It's a Samsung camera. It's gonna take good pictures. So, you know, I have absolutely no problems with the actual device itself. Oh, bruh, my Z Flip 3 is broken. It's been a great exact 5 months. It looks like their device is in like some boot up lock. So no actual physical body damage or anything like that, but just sort of like a software or maybe firmware sort of damage, unfortunately. And I have no idea exactly how to fix that. Maybe try like a what's it called, a boot up thing, like you hold down your, oh no, they're already doing it. Yeah, they're holding down like the volume down button, they're holding in the power button, but it's not going into the boot up or the developer mode. Interesting. Sorry to hear that that's happened to you. It's happened to me with my Note 8 as well. So after like 5-6 years of use, I used my Note 8. It went into that boot up infinite loop, and I never got it out of it, even to this day. That's unfortunate. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, please do subscribe, like the video, it really helps me out. That was my update video on the Z Flip 3 6 months later, and I've been making update videos on this product every single month. So if you want to learn more, definitely go check those out as well. They're all on my channel. And you know, obviously you want to be subscribed, because next Friday, this coming Friday, this week, I'm going to be having the S22, and we're going to decide whether I switch to the S22 or if I continue with my Z Flip 3. All of it's on the line. Make sure to be subscribed to stay in the loop. I'm going to see you guys later. Take it easy. Peace.